Hiring someone seems like a totally logical process, right? You look at their skills, you check their references, and then you make a smart, rational choice. But what if I told you there's something else going on? Something deep inside your brain's chemistry that's secretly pulling the strings and maybe, just maybe, tricking you into making the wrong call. Let's dig into the surprising science that makes hiring so incredibly tricky.
Come on, think about it. We've all been there. That one candidate walks in and within minutes, you just know they're the one. You feel this instant connection, this total certainty. So where does that powerful gut feeling actually come from?
Well, here's the thing. What if that incredible surge of confidence isn't some kind of brilliant intuition? What if it's actually a powerful and, a deeply misleading biological trap that your own brain is setting for you? Today, we're going to find out exactly how that trap works.
So let's get right into it. Why does being biased feel so, right? The answer, it turns out, is in our brain's reward system. And it all comes down to a single chemical that actually makes it feel good to be wrong. Okay, let's meet the main character in our story today, dopamine. You've probably heard of it. It's the brain's feel-good chemical. When you do something your brain really likes, like eating an amazing meal or hitting a goal, it releases a little bit of dopamine. That gives you a feeling of pleasure and basically tells your brain, hey, whatever you just did, do that again. Now, here's how this whole thing plays out in a hiring situation. Imagine you're scanning a CV and boom, you see something you love. Maybe they went to your alma mater or worked at a company you admire. That's a rewarding cue. Your brain sees it, releases a little hit of dopamine, and you feel a jolt of excitement. And just like that, a positive impression gets locked in. Your brain is literally rewarding you for finding something familiar. This quote just nails it. Stop and think about what this is really saying. When we find a piece of evidence that confirms what we already think about a candidate, our first hunch, our brain gives us a little chemical treat. It feels good to be right, and that feeling makes us want to keep finding more reasons why we're right. This is the biological engine that drives some of the most powerful biases in hiring. So, what happens when our brains get totally hooked on that dopamine reward? Well, it leads us directly into our first major hiring trap, confirmation bias. This is where that initial good feeling makes us see only what we want to see. So what is this really? Essentially, once we form that first impression, our brain goes on a mission. It's like it puts on a special pair of glasses that filters everything. It starts actively looking for any little piece of information that supports our initial feeling, and it conveniently ignores or downplays or totally explains away anything that might challenge it. It's a completely unconscious filter. I love this phrase because it is so true, isn't it? You take a shine to someone, and all of a sudden, every good answer they give is proof of their absolute genius. But if they stumble on a question, oh, that's just nerves, no big deal. We unconsciously cherry-pick all the data to make our gut feeling look like some kind of brilliant prediction. Now, what is it that often creates that powerful first impression in the first place? Well, that leads us right into our second major bias, the halo effect. This is where we get completely blinded by one single shiny detail. And it turns out this is a two-sided coin. On one side, you got the halo effect. This is when one amazing thing, like a degree from a top university or they worked at Google, makes us just assume the candidate is brilliant at everything else too. But then you've got its evil twin, the horn effect, which is just as dangerous. One little typo on a resume or a gap in their work history, and we can unfairly assume they're weak across the board.
Okay, so our brains are tricking us. Big deal, right? Well, yeah, it's a huge deal. Because relying on these gut feelings has real, tangible costs that can seriously hurt your organization.
Think about it. When you hire based on bias, you are, by definition, not hiring the best person for the job. You end up missing out on incredible talent that just doesn't fit your preconceived notion of what good looks like. You hire people who seem great in the interview, but then underperform, which means your turnover goes up. And over time, you build a team where everyone thinks the same, which kills innovation and can just tank morale.
And hey, let's talk hard numbers for a second. A bad hire isn't just a minor mistake. The cost, when you factor in recruitment, training, lost productivity, all of it, is estimated to be between 1 and 2.5 times their annual salary. All of a sudden, those dopamine-fueled good feelings can get very expensive very, very fast. And this quote just puts the strategic risk in perfect focus. Bias isn't just some HR thing to worry about.
It's a major competitive disadvantage. It creates a massive blind spot that literally prevents you from bringing on your most valuable asset, the right people. So the big question is, what on earth can we do about it? Well, the good news is we are not helpless here. We're not just victims of our own biology. We can actually build processes to outsmart our own biased brains. Here is the single most important thing to remember about fighting bias. You can't just try harder to be objective. It doesn't work. You have to build a better system. A deliberate, structured process is your #1 defense against the brain's fast, unconscious, and often wrong shortcuts. So what does that look like in the real world? Well, it's a whole toolkit of practical things. It means using structured interviews where every single candidate gets asked the same questions in the same order. It means using scoring rubrics to evaluate their answers objectively. It could mean reviewing resumes blind, with the names and schools removed, or using skills tests that actually measure what someone can do. And having multiple diverse people evaluate candidates independently is absolutely key.
Here is a fantastic way to visualize this whole thing. Think of your intuitive brain as a powerful sports car. It's fast, it's exciting, and it loves to just zoom ahead based on habit and gut feelings. A structured process doesn't get rid of the sports car. It just adds the speed bumps and the guardrails needed to make sure you actually arrive safely at the right destination, which is a great hire. And this really reframes the entire effort perfectly. This isn't about being politically correct or checking a box. It's about quality control, plain and simple. Just like you have processes to make sure your product is flawless, you need processes to make sure your hiring decisions are as good as they can possibly be. It is just smart business. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Your gut feeling? That little dopamine-fueled rush of certainty? It's a terrible, completely unreliable predictor of how well someone will actually do the job. But you are not powerless. Your best tools are awareness of how your brain works and a real commitment to designing a better, more thoughtful, more structured process.
And that leaves us with one final and really crucial question to ask yourself the next time you're hiring. When you get that good feeling about a candidate, when you just feel that click, pause for a second and ask yourself, is this person really a genius, or am I just falling for my own bias? The answer could change everything.